Okay. It doesn't give me that opportunity. Multiple
Okay.
participants can share simultaneously. Kicked in. It became a really wanted destination, and we have been in business for 20 years, and we're experiencing the high amount of people flocking into Croatia, which is wonderful, but it also is a little bit stressful at this moment because we're not used to people booking 2024 or 2025 already. So a little bit about us. We are a DMC company that is specialized in luxury, in yacht charters, groups, and incentives. So we have 6 people who are working on the itinerary, and whenever somebody works on the itinerary, they become their concierge. We also have the main concierge. Her name is Ivana, and every time when your customer is in, we take over. So whatever happens, if something happens, they have a changes, we're able to modify their booking, change their itinerary whenever they want. So we are there, basically your right hand, making sure that their trip from the moment they land to the moment they leave is absolutely perfect. Uh, why book with us? So we are US-based company, which makes it very easy for the agent to process the payments. This is the main reason why we opened our business in US. Since we work with B2B, that means we work with American agent. When we say we do exclusive experiences, I do have to say my boss is a very young, enthusiastic person, and we don't know about the word no. So when we had a request for somebody who wanted to close Dubrovnik city walls for 2 people to have a dinner, we actually gave it a go, we managed, and we succeeded. So since that moment, we are aware that there is nothing that we cannot do. So we are really all about people. If you have a customer with a very odd requirements that you think they're not possible, give the case to us and we're going to turn a lot of numbers, because we do have a lot of great people on a ground, on a terrain and sea, and the land who are ready to help us. About Croatia, well, every country will tell you that they have a great land, they have a great sea, they have a great people, and it's all true. And Croatia here is no different. So it has a huge cultural diversity. It's been historically where the European West meets the East, which means we're the last Catholic country that is bordering with Islam. So you have a beautiful mix of a very diverse culture, which reflects the food, the way people are. And it is a lovely place to visit. Now, when I lived here before, when I was a kid growing up in Croatia, I thought it's just has to be this way. But then moving to US and coming back, I actually see it through a different lens. And there is something really specific about Croatians. They can be stubborn and very closed, which means that one village will not talk to another one because they all think they know the best. But what that created is a very diverse island. So you can go hop from one island to the next and feel like you're in a completely different world, because they never shared anything. So they have a different wine, different folklore, different culture. The way they look is different. And I always took it for granted when I was a kid, but now coming back, I actually think it's a great place to visit, because you can go from one island to the next or from one place to the next and still not feel like you're in the same country, but the country is extremely small. Many people know Croatia because of the nature. Plitvice is the most visited national park in Europe. It has 1 million or now even 2 million people visiting it every year. Bear in mind, we have 3.8 million people in whole Croatia. So it does get packed. I do advise, when you sell Croatia, please be ready that 2023 may already be booked. We are fully booked on charters already for 2023, so we still have availabilities for FIT travel that is mostly land. So it really exploded. National parks are just one of those who are visited, and we always advise people, give us a shout, because we protect our nature in a way that most of our national parks have a limited amount of people who can come in at a certain time, and that is just to not disturb the nature. It is absolutely beautiful, and we are very protective over it. So 1,266 islands. Well, not all of them are inhabited. Obviously, we would have much more people here, but yeah, it is a best country to go sailing. From May to end of October now, because seasons are getting longer. I would say, unfortunately, because we cannot put the climate change on a side, we have to be very aware of it. I would say May, end of October, September, still best time for sailing. It's not too hot, and you avoid the crowd in general. So when we talk about Croatia, I have to talk about gastronomy. So if you're into food or wine, you will love it here. So food is very light in the area where we send tourists. Again, because Croatia is in between all of the cultures. The northern Croatia has a hot and heavy food. The western Croatia is mostly like Austrian influence. The east Croatia is mostly baklavas and very eastern, almost like Turkish influence. And then Dalmatia and Istria, where people go, um, very diverse, very light, beautiful Mediterranean food. We don't like to fiddle a lot with the spices. So what you get is freshly caught from the sea. It is just a beautiful taste of nature. Wine, most of you will know Zinfandel and Grgić in Napa Valley. Well, he moved his wine from Croatia there. We also have a lot of native wine varieties, but Croatians are not very ambitious, so they will never make enough to export. I cannot get my head around that because as an American, I think business is a really great thing to keep you alive. But for Croatians, they value their family, they value their time. And then if you ask them, look, dude, why don't you make more wine so you can export? Most of the people will say, well, I have enough in my life. Somebody else can do it. I'm perfectly fine just being as it is, which gives me back to the culture. When you come here, things do not happen immediately. It happens for our company because we are mostly Americans in our company. But if you want something get done fast, if you want to have your meal fast, no, it's just not going to happen. People will not ask you, are you still working on it? Because food is very important. It is not something you work on, it's something you enjoy, take pleasure in. And there is nothing wrong if you end up sitting 3-4 hours having one meal and many repeats. Adventure, having this nature, of course, will create a lot of adventure opportunities. We have sea, mountains, rivers. Normally, we'll take everyone who is into kayaking, canoeing, cliff jumping. It's a perfect spot for it. Well, rivers are very mild. We have only one river that is a little bit crazier, but again, it's like a Croatian temperament. It's all very wild if you're from. It's all very mild if you're from the U.S. So it's manageable for kids. If you're a little bit of older age, it's still manageable. Um, luxury is something I need to talk to as a thing that didn't exist before. So most of the people who know Croatia through a war, unfortunately, and communism from before. Having said that, in the past 10 years, there is a lot of movement into building a luxury resorts, luxury hotels, and we realized some of the people realized that there is a good business there. So they are those who actually exist. Um, this I find this really interesting because when you travel through a lot of countries, you see the eras, you see the 70s, you see the buildings of 80s and 90s. Well, in the 90s, there was a war here. And then nothing happened from 90s to 2000. So you actually don't have the visual damage. From 90s, a lot of people left. So nature got wild. And then in 2000s, people started building luxury. So You don't have some of the ugly buildings. It's actually pretty beautiful, incorporated into the nature, because in 2000s the green movement started to. Yacht, when we say the explore in style, that doesn't mean that land doesn't have style. It is just a different way of exploring Croatia. With the summer temperatures, land can be quite hard. We've had to cancel some of the tours last year because it was too hot. It did get like California. We did have some of the fires. And then when you're on a land and you have a forest fire, you actually can't move. So you have to be in your resort, you're seeing it, you're experiencing it, and it can get quite stressful. But on a sea, you hop from one side to the next. When you have more people on a boat, you actually divide the cost per person, and you will realize that the cost of accommodation on a boat where you have a half board, which means 2 meals a day, it's not unaffordable. It is actually an affordable luxury. We don't have a limit to, we have actually a limit to maximum amount of people we take on board. But if we have an incentive, then we take more boats. That's it. So no limits. Catamarans are very used. If you have, say, someone who is 2 people, 4 people, they want to go explore Croatia, but you don't want to put them on mini cruise that they can take 17 cabins. We'll take you on catamarans where they still have the half board. They still have a massive, massive cabins and fully crewed. We never hire and let anyone ride a boat. No, we actually have a fully crewed team who are almost like our employees, because our boss invests in the boats too, to be refitted and to be beautifully done. And having done that with our people, we actually have a little bit of a control. So if your client says, well, tomorrow I don't feel like going where my itinerary says, um, he will talk to captain. Even though captain has a set itinerary by us, he will call us and we will say, yes, do whatever customer says, if it's safe, if it's not some wind or there is something going on, that is not going to be possible. For sailing yachts, they're up to 22 people. Sailing yachts are beautiful. Well, they have a sail, but they also are motorized, because Croatia does not have high winds. Again, it's very mild. The high winds happen on northern part, and it happens in wintertime when we don't advise people to go sailing. And we don't do that because we don't like a massive liability. So we have sailing yachts. They are like a gullets, which is an old Turkish built boat with a really big side. So if you have toddlers who tend to disappear in 2 seconds time when you blink, these are perfect because they have sides that are up to your shoulders and they can't jump off. So we always say if you have family gatherings with small children to elderly, we put them on gullets or sailing yachts because these are perfectly safe and everyone can relax. And that's the whole point about a holiday, is actually a relaxations. Mini cruisers, we mostly charter to larger groups of people, and larger groups of people can also be a family. There are some family gatherings that we take that are up to 36 people, and we also take incentives. I said we had an incentive just recently with 3 boats sailing at the same time because we couldn't fit the whole insurance company on one boat, but we made sure that 3 boats are sailing at the same time. There's 3 beautiful, beautiful yachts. So it was quite experience for them because they could hop on and off through the bridging. You know, you bridge the little boat. So you bridge the boats. So everything is again possible. People can have a parties. They can anchor whatever they want, and we set the itinerary for them usually, so it's just perfect for everyone. And the motor yachts, well, these are super fast. So last 3, they were fast, but motor yachts is if you have an adrenaline need person. They do not look like super yachts. So I just sold 2 today where the inside of a cabin is bigger than my master bedroom in the house, and that's pretty large. So these are very, very high-end yachting experience, and it's a freedom. So these come with the itinerary, but it's completely tailor-made on the spot, whatever a person needs. And then about Croatia, this is where I would like to say thank you and see you in Croatia. But I would like to say that this is really a country that's been going on through a lot of changes. Um, People are very welcoming to Americans since we actually helped them throughout the war. It's a very safe country. Coming back from the US, it took me about a year to realize that it is okay not to lock a door. It is okay if you lose your wallet or you leave it in a restaurant. If you know where it is, the possibility of it being there still when you leave is huge. So people are very friendly towards foreigners. And I say that for the reason because coming back to Croatia, even though I am Croatian, like my father is a very known poet in Croatia, they still call me Yankee because I kind of left, and I shouldn't have. I should have stayed in this beautiful country. So there's this thing towards each other that we're not very pleasant, and you will hear us yell, and they're very temperamental about their heritage and about the village that they're from, which is really amusing for me to look at it. But it's also that diversity that you can offer to the client. And I know that you will remember this story, but it is really, when I went, for example, when I went to Greece, you have white and blue, white and blue. And I knew all the time I was in Greece because it's very specific, because people are sharing, they have a culture together. Here, if you get drunk on a sailing yacht and then you go from one island to the next that are 2 miles apart, you may think you're in another country. That how different it is. And I think for you to send customer here, it is almost like a foolproof travel journey that they will have fun, and they will come back thinking that they haven't been to Croatia, but that they have been into multiple destinations. And that's something that I would like you to take home with, uh, because I was just very oblivious to it before, but now I see it, having been to US and UK for 20 years. What we do for you as an agent, because we realize your customers can be odd, they can really push your limits. We don't do things with customers, and we really appreciate for the job that you do. But what we do for you is we offer you free marketing materials. So if you need a video to educate yourself about Croatia, these are like 2-minute videos because that's what all of our attention spam is lately. We will send you the videos, we will send you the sample itineraries so you can educate yourself in everything that we have to offer. But if you start thinking about Croatia as an option, think of a Game of Thrones. This is what happened. It put Croatia on a map. So everybody comes on Game of Thrones tours and they realize, hey, these guys have history. Yes, we have a huge history coming from Roman Empire. We have the amphitheater, one of the 3 amphitheaters in the world. We have the second largest stone wall in the world after the Chinese wall. So these are the huge things that Croatians, for some reason, are terrible in sharing. But I'm trying to do that job, and I'm trying to help you as an agent being educated what we can offer, because our people just don't talk about it, and don't ask me why. So I am ready for any questions that you may have.
Thank you so much, Maya, for that lovely input and insight of Croatia and
Thank you.
clients. Now, before we do turn it over to questions, I would like for everyone to put their email address in the chat box so I can get those over to Maya and her team. So If they like to stay in touch with us agents, they'll be able to do so.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So while they are doing that, I do have one specific question. How
Mm-hmm.
we book? How do we book? I know you said you deal with us, the agents.
Mm-hmm.
Um, how do we book the
Yes.
tour?
So you say I have two clients, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and they are this kind of people. And they're like this, and they want itinerary of 7 days, and this is what they like. So you and I work on their itinerary. I make a suggestion, and you send that suggestion with a quotation to your customers. We pay 13% commission to you, which is huge. So 13% commission goes to you after the client likes it, and it usually does after 2 times. Then we take a 20% deposit for, we do tours, we do accommodations, and we do tours. So everything. So transfers, accommodation, tours. You put a 20% down and you lock a price and you lock the tours and accommodations. Well, that is really if everything works to plan, and that can work against us sometimes, especially now, because locking a price now when a hotel changes every week, it's risky, but we do take that risk and we honor that risk. So it is very simple. 20% goes to US bank account, which is can be with a wire, has no fee. And if the customer is paying with a credit card, there is an unfortunate fee of 3.2%, but it is really not up to us. It's a credit card processing fee. So we always advise our agent, please use wire. It is simple, it is same day, and it doesn't cost any additional monies.
Awesome. Okay. Now, would we be contacting you as our BDM to book, or is there a website, a link that we could start the process?
Yes, there is a via Croatia.com. So am I still sharing? So we are rejigging our website. We have our marketing team because I was on that Internova Plus event, and we were told that our logo and everything looks like a construction company. So we are changing the way it looks. But this is our website, and then you have agents portal right here. So you click on agent portal, which currently is unavailable because we're working on it, but you can contact us, and then the email goes to all of us. And it's only 6 of us and 5 dogs. So the chance that you will get a response is, we have a 24-hour turnaround time. We're working around the clock during a season. So yes, it's very simple. We'll get back to you and we'll ask you a billion of questions. Please, budget is always important, because I understand agents are hiding budgets like a snake is hiding legs, but without it, at the moment, because we're so full, we can't even start on the itinerary. We did have to incorporate the policy that after third itinerary, we have a right to charge for any change, which means we all have to be serious in this business. This is fun business, I agree, but coming from banking, it's all about money and the value you get from the money. And if you as an agent do a job of filling up the questionnaire that we send you, which really hones down to every single need of the customer, it really is a second itinerary that sells it. If the job is like, oh, I have 2 people that want to go to Croatia, well, we are going to get to that third itinerary very fast. So we will ask you, okay, you got to be more, it has to be more than that. 2 people. What are their ages? What are their interests? What is their budget? Have they ever been here before? Do your due diligence about getting to know your customer. When you get to know your customer, we know what to do. It is really simple as that, but we all have to be perfectionists in this business because we are in luxury department, and we seriously cannot afford mistakes. Our partners who we work with, we've tested them. So that means that October, November, We go to the land, we choose our partners that we want to work with, and then we behave as nasty guests because this is what they're going to get. And then if they fail on any spectrum, if they're rude, if they're obnoxious, if they do something, we just don't have them as partners. So all of our partners that we work with are fully tested by us. And so we need everyone to do their job perfectly.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for that wonderful explanation. Um, have lots of thank yous, Maya, and we do have quite a few people who are interested in videos and sample
Mm-hmm.
itineraries.
Mm-hmm. Send
Mhm.
me your emails and I will send it to you. I will share it. This is my drive right here. You can see it. And all of it on my drive is shareable with other people. So we don't hide anything. So whatever you need to have, we share. Another thing about tours, we never break them down. We have a lot of requests from agents. So can I have the price of this tour? Can I have a price of that tour? No, we don't do it. This is what the luxury agents do not do. We bulk the price. So we say this is a whole itinerary costs this much. And this is it. We don't break down the tours. We can modify them, but we don't break down the prices and we don't send out tours because we have more 250 tours available. So we don't break down the costs.
Thank you for
Mm-hmm.
clarification. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So lots of emails for you, Maya. I will make sure I get those pulled and sent over to you.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it'd probably be fair to just share the drive to the agents because if their email is there, they are definitely interested in learning more on how
Mm-hmm.
market it. So again,
Yeah.
thank you. I don't see any other questions going once, going twice. All right. We had one last one that just rolled in. How many US trips do you book?
Oh my God. Oh God. So this is February 16th. With yesterday, we're bringing in 5,000 customers just so far in this year, and it keeps going. So 5,000 customer from US so far we booked
Wow.
from December to now. I think there was like 5,000 customers from 1990 to 2000. I mean, this is really we are overwhelmed. So we hired 3 more people in the last 3 months because we realized every day when you wake up and you wake up to 56 emails, it's really hard. It's so. Thank you, Game of Thrones. I would say.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Well, as your business grows, it's important for for you to make changes to grow so you could keep up with
yeah,
it. So
yeah, yeah. Well, it's hard. It's actually difficult. I think the difficult market everywhere in the world is with people. When you have 5,000 customers and you left your country is only 3.8 million, we are struggling we will struggle in about a month or two to keep it up because the growth is too big for the amount of partners we have. Because let's say we have 5 tour guides in Split. Last year we were okay with it, but we were just barely okay. But there is not enough people in Croatia who are doing the job. So the hotels are struggling with the infrastructure. So we need to bring people from abroad. And then what people do is they bring it the last moment because we don't do it. We actually have a cutout time. We had it last year where our boss just said, okay, guys, I'm sorry, but we're not able to take any more bookings because we don't have enough capacity and we don't want to hire somebody on a spot right now because it's an unknown value, right? So I think having a workforce leaving Croatia is not working for anyone. So we really advise clients, please book early. Last minutes are extremely difficult. and not advisable anymore. People after coronavirus, they started really booking in advance. We're all in a different, I'm sure the agents will agree, we're all have to change and adapt. And this is not the time that we've ever had a business like that before. We're all learning.
Agree.
Mhm.
All right. So there was a few more that rolled in, and I'm just gonna
Mhm.
go read those off. Um, what would be an average cost of an itinerary?
Yeah, it's a good question. Thank you for asking that. So we cannot make an itinerary that is less than $5,000 budget per person for 5 days. Because you have Dubrovnik, everyone wants to go to Dubrovnik, and if you check the hotel in Dubrovnik, it's about $500, $600 per night. And then add a transfer cost, which is now embarrassing. You know, when we are adding transfer because of Ukraine and lack of gas and electricity, transfers came up 80%. They rose from last year. So $5,000 mark per person, 5 days. Have that in mind. No flights.
No flights. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. And we have someone asking, I know you spoke very well about Croatia, but particularly how is racism in Croatia
Mhm.
towards?
Okay, fair question. When you come to visit, no problem. If you come to live here, people are not used to like I am unusual. I'm Croatian, but because I spoke English to my husband who was American, because they look at you as you differently, a little bit more closed-minded. They are, I would say. As a tourist, no problem, they get it. But to live here, I wouldn't take that as a choice. I will just say that they're not nasty, they're not aggressive, they're not rude. It's not racism like in US. In US, is very emotional. Here is almost like they're afraid, and I'm not sure why is that, but it is. For example, my husband came to cut his hair here first time, and the hairdresser said to him, "I've never cut an American hair before." And we were like, what kind of comment is that? So these kinds of people are just very curious, but unsure, very closed. But that's something you expect from people here because they didn't have a lot of influence. They didn't have a lot of mixing. Yeah, but nothing nasty. It's just very unusual.
Gotcha. Perfect.
Mhm.
Thank you. All right. So I do want to thank you again, Maya, for
Mhm.
joining us on this walkthrough Wednesday. Is there
Thank
any
you.
words you would like to give our clients before we close out?
Yeah, it's just be yourself. When you're contacting us, we're not trying to rip you off. We're giving you 13%. We all try to make business. Um, do not connect us to your customers, please, until they come to the shore. Then that's when we have to deal with them. But we really appreciate what you do.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All
Mhm.
right. On behalf of our 1-star platinum, Mrs. Nina Jackson Mitchell, we'd like to give it back to you. This webinar is officially over. Thank you so much, Maya. You have a good one.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good one. Bye.